The story begins with a couple named Yohei and Rina. They have been living together in an apartment for 2 years, but Rina has finally had enough. Yohei never pays attention to her feelings. He never proposes, and eventually she decides to walk away from the relationship. That night, while Yohei is relaxing alone, strange things start happening. The lights switch off by themselves, the TV suddenly turns on, and a bottle on the table moves without anyone touching it. Before he can make sense of it, a woman dressed entirely in white appears in the room. Yohei is terrified at first, but once she turns the lights back on and he sees her face, the fear disappears. The ghost in front of him is surprisingly beautiful, and she keeps staring right at him. Yohei's clueless reaction annoys her even more. She is upset because he never appreciated Rina and treated her poorly. From her point of view, Yohei took his girlfriend for granted for 2 whole years. This shocks Yohei, especially when he realizes that if the ghost has been watching them from the start, she must have witnessed every intimate moment he ever had with Rina. When he accidentally glances at her chest, she becomes furious and tries to slap him, but her hand passes right through his face since she is still a spirit. In that instant, Yohei understands that his quiet life is no longer his own. This is Sayonara Konbanwa. The next morning, something unbelievable happens. Even though her slap went straight through him, Yohei wakes up with a bruise on his cheek. At work, his coworker Kana notices it and, finding the situation amusing, snaps a photo. She is shocked when the picture reveals a dark, shadowy figure standing beside him. Later, Yohei buys some incense sticks after spotting them at a shop. When he lights one at home, the ghost appears again, enjoying the scent. She warns him not to burn incense because it could start a fire, but Yohei casually points out that she could just put it out. Strangely, she explains that she cannot touch anything in the physical world, since she is still a ghost. The next day, Yohei visits a property agency to see a man named Okuda. He wants to ask about the strange figure he has been seeing lately. Okuda seems to know something, but he avoids the topic completely, leaving Yohei frustrated and deciding to head home. When Yohei gets home, he finds the ghost burning all the incense he bought. He rushes to open the window and scolds her so harshly that she nearly bursts into tears. Later that night, while he is asleep on the sofa, the ghost quietly reaches out to touch him. Startled, Yohei grows frustrated and wonders what she really wants. Instead of answering with anger, she looks heartbroken. She explains that she cannot leave the apartment because her spirit is bound to the place. If her presence is bothering him, she wants him to drive her out in any way he can. Feeling guilty, Yohei goes over to apologize. That is when she opens up about why she chose this apartment. She loved the view. It was the one thing that still made her feel connected to the world she once knew. When Yohei asks for her name, she admits she only remembers the first and last letters, A and I. So he decides to call her Aisuke. The next day, Yohei asks her to prove that she really cannot leave the apartment. Aisuke shows him immediately. She tries stepping out the front door, only to be pulled right back inside. Instead of frightening them, the moment brings them closer, and the two grow unexpectedly affectionate. That night, as Yohei sleeps, Aisuke reaches out again. This time she realizes she can touch him without her hand passing through his body. The feeling overwhelms her with happiness. She has spent so long trapped in this apartment with no one to talk to that even the simple act of touching another person fills her with warmth. Yohei begins to see how lonely she has been and feels a strange sympathy for her. And after his breakup, her presence slowly fills the emptiness he has carried for so long. Every morning she even wakes him up for work, as if she has become part of his routine. One evening, Yohei returns home with his coworker, Kana, trailing behind him. She wants to stop by his apartment, and as soon as she steps inside, she comments on the strange scent in the air. It reminds her of her grandmother's house. She cannot see Aisuke at all, but she can definitely sense something unusual lingering in the room. Yohei grows uneasy while sitting with Kana on the sofa. He knows Aisuke has feelings for him, so he politely tries to nudge Kana toward leaving. But Kana becomes more aggressive in her attempts to flirt with him, and Yohei finds himself trapped in an awkward situation. Just as things escalate, the lights suddenly go out. Aisuke reveals herself to Kana, and the shock sends Kana into sheer terror. Aisuke is jealous. She watches Yohei come home with another woman, and the moment she sees them getting close, it stings even more, especially after his recent breakup. Yohei insists that Kana means nothing to him and that she is only a coworker. Hearing this, Aisuke admits something quietly to herself. She wants to know what it feels like to have a boyfriend. She never experienced love when she was alive, and seeing Yohei treat her with care sparks a longing she has never felt before. She leans in, ready to kiss him, but Yohei gently stops her. What surprises them both is that he can touch her, a real physical touch, something no one else has ever been able to do. The moment leaves Aisuke trembling with nervous excitement, realizing that for the first time, someone can hold her as if she were alive. The next day, Kana returns to see Yohei. She is still shaken from what happened and warns him that the spirit in his room is extremely dangerous. She urges him to get rid of it and even offers help from her aunt, who happens to be a paranormal expert. Back at his apartment, Yohei sits quietly with Aisuke, running his hand through her hair as he thinks about what life would be like if she suddenly disappeared. To him, touching her feels real, warm, and alive, even though she is a spirit. And for Aisuke, the connection is just as meaningful. After spending so long unable to touch anyone, being able to feel Yohei brings her genuine happiness. This makes Yohei even more curious about her past and what caused her to die and remain bound to this place. Before long, Kana brings her aunt Misaki to investigate. Misaki explains that the spirit living in Yohei's room is tied to the earth, unable to move on, and usually appears in one specific place. She also warns that physical contact with the spirit can be dangerous for a living person. But Yohei refuses to send Aisuke away. He only wants to understand why she died. Kana, however, keeps insisting that her aunt should force the spirit out. While Yohei is gone, Aisuke waits for him. Misaki enters the apartment, locks the door, and begins her work. She cannot see Aisuke, but she can feel her presence and speaks gently, explaining that she is not there to harm her. She wants to help her find a peaceful place to rest. Misaki also reveals a frightening truth. If Aisuke stays too close to Yohei for too long, she could pull him into death with her. She then shows Aisuke the direction of a spiritual exit, pointing her toward the window. Outside, Yohei and Kana wait anxiously. Yohei is visibly nervous. After a while, Misaki steps out and says that everything is done. Yohei hurries back into the apartment, desperate to find Aisuke. He spots her standing at the edge of the balcony. Relieved that she is unharmed, he approaches her, but she looks heartbroken. She apologizes, worried that she may have disrupted his life. Yohei assures her that her presence has never bothered him. Wanting to understand her better, Yohei explains that he asked Misaki for help purely to learn more about Aisuke's past. Hearing this, Aisuke asks for something she fears might sound selfish. She wants to be Yohei's girlfriend. She tells him she now knows how to leave the room when she wants, which means they can go out and enjoy the world together. Yohei does not hesitate. He takes time off work so he can give Aisuke the happiness she longs for. He even stops by the market to buy her a pair of shoes, preparing for the days ahead. The next morning, Yohei gives Aisuke the gift he bought for her. She lights up instantly. Even though the shoes were from a bargain rack, she loves them and proudly slips them on. To help her get outside, Yohei asks her to jump from the balcony since she still cannot use the door like a normal person. She hesitates, nervous about the idea, but Yohei reassures her that he will be waiting to catch her below. Once she lands safely, the two of them head out to explore the city together. Something strange happens along the way. People can actually see Aisuke. Maybe it is because she is wearing the shoes Yohei gave her, but whatever the reason, she is visible to everyone around them. Yohei takes her to one of his favorite cafes, and even the staff automatically brings 2 drinks to their table. It is clear that Aisuke appears completely real to everyone there. After the cafe, they stop by a movie theater, the place Aisuke used to visit often when she was alive. Sadly, it is closed for the day. Yohei quickly comforts her, reminding her that they can always come back tomorrow. Their day continues at the beach, the place Aisuke has been looking forward to the most. She thanks Yohei for everything he has done for her, and the two share a warm embrace. But even in that moment of joy, Yohei notices something off. Aisuke seems to be rushing through every wish she wants to fulfill, as if she is running out of time. When he asks if they will be able to keep meeting after today, she stays silent. For Aisuke, this day is the happiest she has ever had, and she wants to hold on to it as long as she can. That night, while Yohei sleeps, Aisuke approaches him with deep sadness in her expression. She remembers Misaki's warning. Staying close to Yohei could eventually pull him toward death, and she cannot allow that to happen. The thought of harming him tears her apart. To prevent another regret from forming in her heart, she makes a painful decision. She leaves through the supernatural passage Misaki once showed her. It breaks her to go, but Aisuke knows Yohei has given her enough happiness to finally rest. She has never been good at expressing her feelings, even though the words she wants to say are simple. Before she goes, she kisses him. It becomes both her first kiss and her last. In that quiet moment, she thanks him for the joy he brought into her life. The next morning, Yohei wakes up feeling uneasy, even though nothing seems out of place. He has not seen Aisuke since the night before, and the silence in the apartment feels heavier than usual. He searches every corner of the place, but she is nowhere to be found. Realizing something is wrong, he goes to see Misaki and asks where Aisuke has gone. Misaki explains that their growing closeness was dangerous for Yohei. She reminds him that he should never have encouraged Aisuke to live like a human. Her departure was her own choice, not Misaki's. All she did was warn Aisuke about the risks and show her a way out. Hearing this, Yohei can only accept the truth, even though it leaves him heartbroken. The loss hits him hard. He becomes restless and overwhelmed, unsure of what to do next. Eventually, he turns to Okuda for answers. He admits that he has lost the ghost girl and hopes Okuda can finally reveal who she really was when she was alive. Okuda, who once watched Yohei find genuine happiness with her, reluctantly shares Aisuke's true identity. The following day, Yohei visits her grave and lights incense for her. The headstone carries the family name Arai, but Yohei cannot help complaining that she left with his sandal without permission. The humor fades quickly as the grief sets in. He breaks down, realizing how deeply their memories have carved themselves into his heart. The whole experience feels like a dream he was never meant to have. Time passes, and Yohei eventually returns to his daily routine. One day, he runs into Kana, who now has a new boyfriend. Yohei barely reacts. At this point, he considers someone like Kana far more frightening than any ghost he has ever met. Years later, Yohei visits the movie theater Aisuke once loved, hoping to feel close to her again. As he sits there, a young woman with short hair quietly watches him from a distance. She looks strikingly familiar, almost like Aisuke reborn. She gazes at him as if she remembers something beautiful, something only the two of them once shared. So the moral of the story is, if your girlfriend leaves you, do not worry, because a clingy ghost might move in, fall in love with you, steal your sandal, and still teach you more about romance than any living human ever did.